start the introduction. Very nice. Okay. So today we have Mr. Clement Oyeyemi with us, a senior software engineer who will be sharing insights from his experience, in the tech industry, answering any question that you may possibly have. Today his session is titled Building a Sustainable Career in Cloud and Software Development. And for the past 2 weeks, you have been learning from your coach, Coach Bimbo. He has done an excellent job, gone above and beyond for you guys, making sure that you understand the fundamentals of software development. And today, you get to hear from someone who is also doing the work, because as you know, your coach is also a software developer. Now you're hearing from another person in the software development space, and he'll share with you what you need to grow and thrive in today's rapidly developing and evolving tech landscape. So please lend him your ears, pay attention, ask him questions. If you want to be a software developer, you already have your coach, but now you have someone else that you can ask questions from. Hear what it has to say, listen carefully, ask thoughtful questions. Okay. So, without taking any more time or saying anything else, over to you, Sir Clement. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks a lot. Very quick question, right? I have just 30 minutes, right?
You have 30 to 40 minutes.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Okay, so I'll share my screen just
Oh,
about now.
nice. I love some slides. Love it.
Yeah. Please let me know when you can see my screen.
We can see your screen. And please, once you're done, kindly send us your slides so we can share it with the students.
All right, sure, no problem.
Okay. Okay.
I'll turn on my video for a while.
Love it.
That's
Love
part of it. See, or just keep it. Yeah, I'll just turn it on, turn it off when it's ready. Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. Right. I can't see your faces, but that's all right. Good evening. My name is Clement. Right. I've been in this space for a while. Right. I started like some years back. Say 2014, 2013. My first internship at around 2017, right? And pretty much, I just really want to like encourage you guys and really talk about things you need to care about for a sustainable career in software and cloud engineering, actually, right? Um, the software space, right, is a space that is a very fast space, but doesn't really change. I mean, there are quite a lot of new things that you see like every other day, but doesn't really change, right? So my whole talk here is really to actually just encourage you to really take the time to understand the fundamentals, right? Uh, I don't know if any of you guys have used LLM, ChatGPT, Codex, Cloud. If you can raise your hand if you've used any of those tools. Is anybody there? Yeah. Oh, cool. Thank you. Right. So let me just go back briefly about me, right, before we actually get started. Like I mentioned, right, I'm a software engineer, right? So I've actually spent a large part of my career working on Number, right? Guys might know it as coding in the past. So we banned it to Number, right? And what did I do there? I worked on POS systems, payment systems, our onboarding systems that actually like make the system tick today, right? Currently, as a software engineer, I'm currently working as an engineering manager. So, but nonetheless, I still write code like day to day. I still work on developing system. I still work on fixing issues and all that, like what you typically expect from a typical software engineer, right? At the end of the session, what I'm really hoping, right, that everybody will take away from here is one, right, the emphasis on understanding fundamentals, right? Even though we have new things coming in every other day, right? Uh, if you know the fundamentals, you are solid. I mean, you are pretty much good, right? Things don't change that much, right? The application of things change a lot, right? So another one is like AI. AI is here to stay, right? As at last year, October, November, I was using Gemini, right? I tried using Gemini, it was basically useless, right? And then by December, right, Cloud Code came and Cloud Code could literally like fix your code for you, write your code for you, and do a lot of that for you, right? Things have changed the past 3 or 4 months, genuinely, right? And also, the other parts that I want to also like take away from here is one, AI is here to stay, but it's a tool that will help you in your learning journey, in your employment, in your personal life, right? I mean, right now, it's not something you should be scared of. It's something you should try to embrace, i.e., try to use it to learn, try to use it to, you can ask the question, pretty much, if I'm going to learn, no, we have like different learning style, right? You can customize your AI to actually like fit into your learning style so you can actually like quickly learn some of the concepts that otherwise would be hard to learn in the past, right? The other part I wanted to actually like take away from here is some things that actually like really separate engineers, right, from others, and especially in this kind of age, right? And some of the other tips. I know Bimbo has actually done like a great job with you guys, but just adding to what he must have said, right? Let me just move on to the next slide, right? So typically, uh, you want to build a system today. You want to build an e-commerce website. You want to build a food delivery system, you want to build any of those things, right? Typically, it will take, I mean, you want to sit down, you want to analyze how long will this take, what is the problem you're trying to solve, right? The problem you're trying to solve is food delivery system, right? A lot of times, for a lot of folks right now, for a lot of you right now, right, you're just thinking about how do I write my code, right? How do I, uh, what technology am I using? Am I using Node.js, PHP, WordPress? Like that's like a lot of questions you're asking. But right now, why you can spend 4 5 months writing your code, right? Right now with AI, like it makes it really fast. So the value you're bringing to the organization you'll be joining, right, to the space you need to actually like start rethinking it, right? Like with what I've learned, right? How do I apply it? I'll also be talking briefly about some of those things, right? Yeah, so pretty much software engineering, cloud engineering, call it whatever, right? It's not strictly about it's not about writing code. Coding is a tool for software engineering, right? It's like it's your spade or your shovel, right? It depends on how you want to use it. If in the past we're using shovel or using spade, right? Right now there are tractors, like you need to use, there's still space for you to use hoes on farm, but a lot of times if you have options of using tractor, you definitely want to use tractor, right? So, but in the real sense, farming is not about the use of hoe, right, or spade or shovel, wherever you want to use it. It's really about growing crops, right? In the same vein, software engineering is really about solving problems, right? Like a problem you want to solve. So the tools in using in solving problem might be code, might be sometimes like you sitting down, scratching your head to design a web page as a UI UX designer. It's those are tools, right? But the fundamental still remains problem solving, right? The problem of how do I ensure that people that are trying to use this particular page, say food delivery truck, right? How do I ensure we ensure that like we can show them the time it will take for the food to get to them, right? Those are kind of problems you'll be solving actually. How do I ensure that the food is not delivered to the wrong person and the right person gets the food and they can confirm and are confident that the food delivered to them, right, is the right, is their own food. And it's not stored in and all like that, right? So it's really literally just about those are the kind of problems they'll be solving, and the thinking about it, whether this thing AGI comes tomorrow, that doesn't remove you really actually like approaching software engineering from problem solving standpoint rather than I just want to write code. I mean, code is fun, quite all right, and you should actually write code, to be honest, right? But at the same time, the at the back of your mind, what you want to have is what I'm here to do is to solve a problem, right? Coding is just a tool I'll use, and you need to learn your tool, right? And I'm sure like Biba has really done a great work of actually like going through that with you guys. You need to learn your tools. You need to learn it very well. But nonetheless, at the back of your mind, you should always have the like have it that software engineering is about problem you're trying to solve, right? And if you think about it, in the history of our industry, right? Um, in the time past, when people want to program, they have this punch cards they used to use, right? I mean, it was a stressful thing. You have like a bunch of cards, right? That if you want to program, if you want to have one or two, 1 plus 2, you probably have like 4 or 5 cards you are slotting into the machine, right? That changed, right? Then you have like machine codes. Then machine code is actually like quite hard. So it's like if you're saying you want to add 1 plus 2, you assign 1 plus 2 to variables, right? For you to do that with machine code, you probably be writing like 10 lines to do that kind of a thing, right? So C programming language came up, right? Guys came up with this programming language and that makes life easy, right? Web frameworks also came, right? I remember back then we used to have some of these tools that you can use in designing the web page and auto generate code for you. Back then, everybody thought that that's the end of software engineering, right? And what I'm trying to say in essence is that like there are all these abstractions on things, right? So for cloud, initially, if you want to deploy any website in time past, you need to get your own physical machine, install it, connect it to network, right? You need to learn a lot of things. You need to learn about networking. You need to learn about server management. You need to learn about VM management, like virtual machine. Like you need to learn a whole lot of things. But cloud came, you actually just abstracted some of these things away. So right now, you're only focusing on solutions are trying to provide. Same way LLM actually like also come, right? Such that things you used to care a whole lot about, right, can get things done faster, sort of thing, right? And just to emphasize again, right, about those change, but concepts, right? The concept of length, how the concept you will learn actually, right? So you are learning some basic things right now, and you should stick to that. But to actually be the sustainable career, you need to learn about the concepts, right, of the sort of things that you'll be dealing with in software engineering, right? The different techniques and all those and all other things. I'll mention some of them actually because of this presentation, right? You need to actually like take your time to learn the concept, right? Learn the concept of how do computers talk to each other. It will actually be quite useful down the line, right? You're talking about database. How the index you create and all like that, how will it translate? How does it translate? How does it work, right? Like first, you need to learn how to build these things, build them first, but to actually be a sustainable career, you need to actually like try to look under the hood, right? To actually see how things are done, pretty much. And really, just to emphasize like what I've been saying about value really moving up the stack, right? Uh, what you're learning today, you're learning probably like HTML, CSS, right? JavaScript, you're learning syntax, right? Uh, there are probably some struggle with you assigning variable to you assigning values to variables, you doing console, you've run your code and you're trying to get it to work, it's failing, you're spending nights trying to get things to work, right? At that point in time, you're still like on the syntax coding level, right? But the place you need to be, right, is also like once you've mastered this current stage of the syntax can get value out for customers, i.e., in terms of websites or app or whatever they're going to do, right? The next thing that's to start thinking about is system design architecture, right? How do I ensure that the website I'm building, how do I ensure that like for 5 or 10 people it works, and it also works for like 1,000 people, for 10,000 people, right? You start to like start thinking about some of these kind of problems. You want to get there actually to actually be that, like to actually be that sustainable career. You want to actually get to the point of beyond the syntax, beyond the code itself, right? You want to actually get to a point whereby you can start thinking about problems, right? Because these tools, and I must mention, right, in software engineering, right, generally for software, codes are actually liabilities. So the fact that you're able to write code fast enough means there are potential bugs you're adding to the system, right? So the primary thing, again, reversizing, the primary thing you need to care about is solution you're trying to build, right? And the compromises. So the way you're doing the compromises of, okay, if you make this thing fast enough, right? If you make this thing very fast, right? Some customers might lose their data, right? So the point of you checking, okay, if I'm building a food truck system, for instance, right? If 10 people are ordering at the same time, right, my system will be slow. So it's the part of you making a decision of, you know what, maybe the system can be slow, right? But 10 people must be able to order food at the same time. That kind of decision is your system design decision, right? And this stage is very crucial right now, where you can use down the line, if you've learned your basic syntax and coding fundamentals, when you can use AI to actually write some of the code, you need to focus more on the decision-making side, right, of things. And that's where like a lot of values are today in the industry, right? And yeah, so we're talking about like software engineers actually, like what actually make engineers stand out, right? Uh, so we have some people called like code monkeys. Code monkeys are people that you give code and then they just give a solution. No, you tell them to write code and they write the code without asking questions. So if the question is a matter of, say, give for instance, I have an engineer that I've assigned a task to work on. Right. What I would expect is the engineer cares about the business logic. The business logic is saying, let me use a food truck example again, right? What I want here is I want to integrate, say, a payment gateway, a part where I can pay, right? So that people can use that card to pay. So I tell an engineer to work on that. The engineer needs to care about certain things, needs to come back and ask me certain questions. So what kind of gateway are we like trying to build? Is it card, right? Are we using a key hard? Are we using a transfer, right? Like the engineer these days, you need to like care about asking questions of what kind of methods are we using? Are the vendors reliable? What happens if they're not reliable? Like these are kind of questions that actually shows interest in the business or the value we're actually trying to deliver, right? These questions are very, very important right now. In the time past, you can skip them and one will be fine. But right now, with the current state of things, some of this interest in the business value are much more important, right, than just writing codes, because LLM can help you write code, right? You need to understand problems, trade-offs, and failure modes. Like right now, it's just very important to start thinking about it as you're building things. I should be building things in the future. You need to start asking questions about the problem, what trade-offs are you making, what are the failure modes, right? It's just very important to actually be a career right now, because anybody can write code, like almost right now, right? But with a code, after prompting AI 2 or 3 times, will that code still be working, right? Will that code still be sustainable, right? Will it break? And all those things. Like the reason why you're learning coding today, you should learn coding today, is because you understand the fundamentals of coding itself, and you can apply that in problem solving. So even if you decide tomorrow, right? Like you're using AI to help you in certain parts. You understand what the AI is doing, right? And you're able to actually bring that in into the problem. So the problem I'm trying to solve is I'm trying to deliver food. So I need to make HTTP call to certain server, right? So which server am I making a call to, for instance? Is this secure, right? What kind of security are we using, right? So your AI will not ask them to, will not ask you those questions, really. So you need to actually learn the fundamentals, like I'm repeating all the time, but also at the same time, for each problem you are given to solve, or any problem you're solving yourself, right? You need to understand the trade-offs, right, and failure modes, and that will actually like really help in the long run. So yeah, I think at the end just talking about coding and decisions, right, and some issues that have happened in the past where uh, people just write code and they didn't care about the decisions that the code caused, right? I mean, issues that happened due to codes that were pushed and all that, right? These are just instances of that. And again, we're just emphasizing right now, software engineering is just not about coding to have a sustainable career. You need to care about the problem you're trying to solve, like deeply care about the problem you're trying to solve. Um, now, or I mean, yeah, I'm very sure over the past few days, you guys have been learning coding, right? Or any other part of things you guys have been doing, right? So you are learning how to write code that doesn't break, right? I don't know if any of you guys spent nights trying to fix a bug, uh, and then you realize that like the bug is probably just a very simple error in one line of your code. I mean, it's one of those painful, excuse me, it's one of those painful experience that you actually need, really, right? Like you sitting down with a problem, you've written an application, maybe a web page, and it's breaking, and then you are spending hours trying to like fix it, right? It helps really like building muscles, right? You're partly there, you partly left that stage, but it's one of those requirements. If you are trying to do something and it's taking you time to figure out like maybe a syntax error, a semantic error, some bug in somewhere. I want to tell you, right? If you've not faced it, you'll face it, and you're not the only one. Like it's normal, right? It's normal to actually like be stuck, right? It's normal to face audience. It's normal to uh, try to, it's normal for you to be fighting HTML on your page for it to align, right? That's these all things are all normal, right? So it's totally normal, right? To actually like fail at some point. Uh, Things that you think will take you 2 hours to end up taking you 6 hours, right? It's normal at the initial stage, right? So pretty much what you probably like want to start doing, right? I know for a lot of us, we started with, if we run into any issue today, Google, what we used to use then is we use Google, right, or Stack Overflow, but you have ChatGPT right now, right? So that means that you can actually like use ChatGPT. If you encounter any error, can pass it to Google. Google still help, right, or ChatGPT or whatever, right, to actually get solutions, and then you can ensure your system works, right? So right now, where is totally normal to be is I'm trying to load the page, it's not loading, right? Then maybe it's a CSS problem, and then I Google search the issue and I fix it and I move on. That is normal. Like there is a joy in actually getting one little thing done, actually, and you should not deprive yourself of that joy at this point, right? Like you working on the task for like two nights and you start finally getting it done, right? Even maybe not understanding the details of what's going on there. At this stage, I would say keep going that way. Actually, just build a lot of things as much as you can. You run into a lot of trouble, but keep pushing, right? Copy solutions and all that. But after the initial stage, after you built like say 10 or 15 like portfolio websites or any application, right? What you want to start to be is a stage where you understand why the error that ChatGPT helped you fixed in the past, why that error was fixed, right? Why the error occurred in the first place? What caused that error, right? How can you avoid in the future, right? That's like where you want to be, like very soon, right? So you want to read error and quickly understand the cause of the error. You want to understand how your code works, right? Initially, right now, you can just slap code together and just get it out, right? But you don't want to actually be that engineer in a couple of months. You want to start caring about how do things work under the hood, right? This error that was fixed for me, why was it fixed, right? What caused the error in the first place, and all that. That's like where you want to be, like later on down the line, right? Again, like I mentioned, right? Check under the hood. But at this stage, just use those things. Just get things done. Build some portfolio, build some things that you're happy and proud to actually like showcase to your friends and to your colleagues and all that, right? But in a couple of months down the line, after you built a lot of things and you've gotten some self-validation or like, yeah, I can actually make things work, right? You want to start caring about the internal states of tools you're using, right? If you're using React, like how does React work under the hood, right? Because that will really help you when you're dealing with optimization. The page is loading, but it's loading slow, right? If you don't understand what's under the hood, you'll not be able to fix that problem effectively, right? Or like you will not be able to fix that problem effectively. Or there's a backend error, right? That's affecting just some people and not affecting all, right? If you don't understand what's under the hood again, you will not be able to fix some of those problems, right? Right now you can slap some queries together, Postgres query together, or if you're using end of this SQLite or some of these other tools, right? You can use your JSON or JavaScript to write a query and it will just work, right? Even for like SQL databases. But at some point, you need to actually like learn SQL itself, right? And know how SQL works because it's just important in this age to know what they would, because very soon the kind of problems, because the query you're trying to run, right? LLM can probably like write that query. But what LLM will not help you with is how do you couple these things together to actually like make something work, right? The performance that you care about, the kind of problems that you want to solve that you care about, right? The AI tools that some folks might be using will not care about some of those things, right? That's where you come in, really. You need to learn that we can't escape it to actually have like a long-term career and a successful one in the industry. Again, let me just keep this. Yeah, so like I was saying the other time, I think a lot of these things are just emphasizing the same thing, which is find the bottleneck, there are issues, right? Learn how those issues are fixed, right? Is there a database problem? Is there a front-end or rendering, right? You can, at the initial stage right now, advise just get a solution, use it and keep moving, right? But down the line, note it, right? 3 months down the line, try and come back and find out what did this problem occur? Why was it fixed? How can I fix it in the future and all that, right? And also, one thing you learn also really quick is that small decisions like really, really, really matter, right? The way you, at the beginning of a project you're writing, the way you structure your project, the way you structure your folder, right? You realize that down the line, right, it has like a huge impact on how maintainable your project is, i.e., can you add new features? So you're doing food delivery to Lagos right now. If the company decides to do food delivery to Abidjan, right, with yours, are you able to quickly do that without messing up your system, right? You start realizing that some of these decisions matter and you should just learn from them. Like you make mistakes, but definitely learn from them, really. And yeah, the feedback loop I already mentioned, things are failing, yeah, find out why they fail, and really, really try your best to actually like ensure they do not fail and learn about them a whole lot. Uh, yeah, so yes, this is pretty much a tip, right? I'm very sure Bimbo has shared a lot with you guys already. Um, yeah, read about libraries you're using, try and learn how they work. You might be confused, you might not understand anything at this point. It's normal. Again, I will keep repeating. It's normal for you to actually like go through some documentation and not fully understand it. Just the little you understand, note it, right? But build a habit actually, right? In 6 months, 3 months down the line, some of those things become clearer to you, right? And I keep mentioning again, your AI is not your enemy, is your friend, in the sense that the way you learn, you can tell it to explain these things to you a like someone based on your share your level of knowledge and tell it to explain it to you such that you understand it. ILM these days can actually like really help to fasten uh your learning curve, really, right? So learn other the details, learn the details of how things work, right? If you hit the wall, don't worry for now, keep it moving, but always try to come back and find out later on, right? There's certain things you won't understand immediately. You take your time to understand them, is all right. But what you should never not do is not to try and understand some of these things, right? Down the line. So yeah, I think pretty much that's really it for me. And let me just to wrap up again, right? Software engineering in the recent sense is a problem solving field. You are trying to solve a problem using computer, right? You are instructing computer to actually solve a problem for you or for the organization that you care about, right? That's what software engineering really is. The tool you're using is coding at this point in time, and we typically write code ourselves, right? Like yeah, like Stone Age. But right now we have like some tools that can help us. But those tools, if you don't understand the fundamentals, if you don't know how to use whole, like what whole does actually, right? If you don't know what holes does and the techniques to actually use holes, using tractor is basically useless because you do a poor job of it. That's why you need to learn some of the things that people are shared. But nonetheless, don't forget that like the purpose of you using whole tractor in the first place is solving problems, right? But learning the fundamental is very important, and focusing on solving problem and not just the two is super important to actually to enable sustainable career. Thank you very much. My name is Clement once again. Yeah, I'm open to questions. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much, Clement. Thank you. I really appreciate your time. I don't know, I don't understand the software development space. So I really appreciate the fact that Big Boy is here and he can comment on the session. That's if he was actively listening. But thank you for coming to share the tips to also just reinforce what they've been learning over the past 2 weeks. That I appreciate. So now we're going to open up the floor for questions. If you have any question, please now is the time to ask your question. And I actually have a question. So I've been using, I don't know, understand codes. I don't know how to write codes. I don't know how those things work. But I've been using Cursor AI to develop a website, which is actually currently online, and it's working just fine. Just because I see GitHub now. So what do you have to say to that? Is that a good way for people coming into the software development space to learn software engineering, software development? What are your thoughts on that? And while you're answering that question, for the students, if you have any question, please use the hand raising feature and then I'll call you up to ask your question.
Um, yeah, okay, yeah. So to answer the question, actually, right? Uh, for people coming to this space, really, right? I would advise get your fingers dirty, right? Get your fingers dirty in the sense of you want to be comfortable with the syntax, right? Like HTML tag, for instance, how to open the body, close the body, HTML wise, how to do all that, what the header means, right? To actually like build this intuition, right, about the what what the code that renders that page that you use Cursor to build. You need to actually build that intuition as a software engineer, actually, because the problem here is this, right? You've built that now, you won't have another feature, right? The unfortunate thing right now is the level at which we have, right? Your Cursor AI, your Claude AI, your Codex, they will mess it up about 5 months down the line. So the question is, how do you fix it, right? Or how do you ensure that it's not messed up in the first place? That's if you understand the structure. If you're building like a one-time use to, of course, just use Cursor, use AI and do that, right? But for people coming into the field, I would say pick up a tutorial, follow the tutorial guidelines, pick up books, learn, read through books, right? And then after you've done that, you've manually face the issue of you've made some mistakes yourself, right? Then you can then try and just use AI to help you really uh, so actually like speed up your development process. So I'll say again, right, for folks listening, as a software engineer that you are, right, get your fingers dirty, right? You still use these tools, but get your fingers dirty first. Thank you. I don't know if I
Okay.
answered the question.
Yes, you did. You sure did. You sure did. Okay. Any other question? Don't be shy. Please ask questions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Should everybody turn on their videos? Maybe that will help. Or let me turn on my video. I don't know. Please ask questions, like there are no ridiculous questions. Or are you guys planning on asking ChatGPT afterwards?
Oh my God.
That is funny.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I mean, maybe, yeah,
Maybe they know
maybe
they
yeah,
have him, but
because
they can always
I mean,
ask
they
him.
have people here anyway,
Hmm.
so
That's
They are,
fine.
they are always shy to ask questions, right? But they know how to enter people's DM and disturb. Clement has done a good job. See Rebecca laughing. They know how to enter your DM and disturb you with questions. I think people are shy to ask public questions. I don't know why. But Clement has done a good job.
Awesome. Awesome.
He has really done a good job, right? So you have made my job easy. Well done. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, thank you. Okay, if guys, I mean, you can drop. There's this anonymous feature on. I don't. I think you should have the anonymous feature here.
For
Uh, for
Google Meet.
questions. So
Oh, I think someone has. Let me see. Thank you so much. It was really insightful. My voice is bad from the flu. So my question is, what should a strong developer portfolio include?
mm, that's a very interesting question. So the
Oh
question I
yeah,
would have,
there's a Q&A. Okay.
there's
Go
a
ahead.
kind of feature where you
Mhm.
can literally ask anonymous questions. I
Okay.
mean, your name will not show if you don't want to, but
Yeah,
then
so
just
guys,
tell
use
them
that
that.
feature if you're
Yeah,
shy.
post anonymously. You can post anonymously. So if you don't, yeah. So her, I mean, that question, it's first, right? I think the other question, I'll do a follow-up question, which is very quick, right? Which is, as a software engineer or software developer, right? What should your portfolio include, right? I'll say for the initial stage, right? You should, I mean, that's a very tricky question in the sense of you want to do a lot of projects, like different kinds of projects, right? You probably want to do like e-commerce, you want to do a classic, you want to do a full delivery somewhat, right? You want to do so what makes your portfolio really rich is how diverse it is, right? It's not just that like you're doing variants of to do hub, right? So I would say I don't know if Bimbo has other answers, yeah. But for me, is how different those projects are, right? The project that will take you into different domains, right? What really make your portfolio rich, right? If I'm checking your portfolio, I'm seeing you've done some things that involves, so it depends on where you're targeting also, right? If you are targeting to be a web developer, right? Of course, you trying to build Android app, build a Flutter app, is going to be a distraction, right? If that's the job you're targeting, right? So the job you're targeting actually matters. The job you're targeting, right, determines the kind of portfolio you want. So if it's web that you care about, right, then you want to build as many different projects as possible. Some you follow tutorial, and then some you want to build your own. You go to different template website, you pick some template and you try and develop those things yourself, right? But ensure the domain are different, i.e., I've done something on, say, e-library right now. The next thing I'm doing should probably be like a each cross system. So you want it to be as different as possible, the projects you're working on. So I would say first, it depends on your target actually, right? Is it mobile development you care about? Is it web development you care about, right? But one thing that should be constant there is you want to do something different, right? Follow some tutorials, can have some tutorial projects, but you want to also like do some projects that you've seen some problems online and then you try to tackle them. I also advise, right, for a software engineer in the house, right, open source contribution also matters, right? There are some, at some point right now, I would say don't worry about it. Just follow some tutorials, build certain things. There are certain things you see in the tutorial that you want to tweak, right? Or tutorial can give you insights and then you can go and build things yourself, just by yourself, right? But yeah, that's what I'll say about that. Bimbo, I don't know if you have other additions to this.
Yeah. You're on point. Yeah. I'm going to speak like as an employer, right? If I'm going to employ you as a software engineer or web developer and all of that, the first thing I will look at is what I'm employing you for. Like if I'm going to employ you as a web development developer, right? I want to see things that are related to that. I don't want to have your portfolio having Flutter, mobile developer, having I should be seeing something that is outside like Python, something, or what's it called, C sharp, all those kind of things. I want to see something that is related to what I'm employing you for. So I think, as Clement said the other time about, it depends on what you're targeting. You need to know what you want to do in this, what's it called, in this field, right? There is a lot going on. Like you said the other time, there is a lot, there's a lot of distraction. I call them noise. Like there's a lot of noise. So you just have to know, okay, what really am I good at? Like after laying your hands upon, like most of us started like that. We try to lay our hands upon so many things. Like, but I tried to be a game developer at one point, developing games. I tried to like Java at one point, but I was not good at it. Not that I can't write it, but Java was just too hard for me. I tried to write Python. In fact, I developed some desktop application on Python, but it was not. So I had to just stay in my website, right? Stay on PHP Laravel, and I love PHP Laravel, right? Laravel is a framework of PHP, and is mostly used to build most web applications and all of that. Yeah. So that's it. So after laying your hands upon so many, you will still find your course coming down to what you like, right? And that would be what is going to form your strongest portfolio. After doing a lot of stuff in that's going to be your portfolio. But as an employer, if I want to employ you, straightforward. If I'm saying I need a web developer, all I want to see something that is related to that. I don't want to see distractions. Once I see distractions, I'll just assume no, this one doesn't know what it's doing. You can't be having everything in your portfolio. No. I want to employ you, because if I employ you, I'm very sure you are just going to be like a noise that you are inside your CV. So I'm sorry to say, but that's how it is, right? So because I don't want to waste my money. So that's it. So yeah.
Yeah, thanks. Please, any other question? Um, cool. Yeah,
Alright.
folks. Yeah, ask questions.
Ebube always entering my DM. You don't have any question. I'll
Yeah,
point out you guys' name now.
Okay, I leave you
What's
guys to me, but thank you. I'm just gonna be quiet.
what's this guy name too that used to come to my DM? Rebecca, you don't have any question.
Rebecca
But
has just been
Rebecca does
laughing.
not disturb Sha, but you disturb too. But you are more of a exploring person. You want to see more to something, but you should have this question. Prince Diego too also. Yeah, they have questions, but they are just you
Okay.
know
I
overwhelmed
mean,
with a lot.
yeah,
I get, yeah.
yeah,
Emeka is
Rebecca.
pointing now. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, please, Emeka, go for it.
Okay, good evening,
Yeah, good
Mr.
evening.
Clement and everybody. So I have this question, even though I don't know if you addressed it at the beginning because I wasn't here exactly when you started. My apologies. What are the job prospects of being a developer in our current contemporary economy, like Nigeria and outside? What are the opportunities? How open, how big it is, how what are the variety of opportunities one can find himself if he's a good developer.
Oh,
Thank you.
okay. Yeah, I mean that's a solid question, right? And I'll be straight with you, right? And the first thing here is, I mean, I'm in this space, right? And what I do a lot day to day is I'm as an engineering manager. Actually, like I still did some interviews last last Friday, right? Trying to actually hire folks, right? I'll say for free, right? That one, people that just want to write code, right? I mean, people that call their code monkeys, just give me a specification, I'll just write the code for you, right? Right now, it's hard to actually like for a lot of folks to get that kind of job, right? At least based on my own experience, right? The kind of job that you actually like see right now involves people giving you like uh, not giving you the full context of problem you're trying to solve. They probably give you like a little bit of problem without the full context, and then people want to rely on PMs, employers want to rely on you doing your due diligence, i.e., trying to find out about the problem space, about the domain, right? You asking questions to clarify things, and those are kind of people like for me, for personally, if I want, I hire people on my to number today, right? Kind of person I want to hire today, right, is someone that who has questions, care about the product they're building, right? And as such, AI is really disrupting the industry. No lies about that, right? But right now, it's a bit hard to tell. What am I saying right now is because if you check the news, you see about 2,000 people were fired from this thing, right? Were fired from AWS today, 4,000 from Google, and the likes like that, right? There are some there's a complexity in terms of there's some things that are not yet clear, whether it's truly AI that's forcing them to fire people. Uh, this guy, Jack of Twitter, he fired he fired a lot of like 4,000 people about 2 weeks ago, right? But the reason why he's firing them right now is actually because he overhired in the past, right? But all these things are being attributed to AI, which is not necessarily true. And what am I saying is right. In the past couple of months since January, right? the company, we've actually been quite heavy on use, engineers using AI to write tools. I mean, I developed some tools to review code and also for management of engineers, right? And what I can tell you for free right now is that I've been managing the tool for a while, and I'm getting tired of managing that tool, right? Because it's taking a lot of my time. So what I'm trying to say in essence is, I still believe that the need for engineers is still going to be very strong, right? Because, for instance, Ruth is talking about developing websites. Trust me, down the line, that website is going to have like an issue 5 months, 6 months down the line. And they will actually like need some engineer that actually understand the field to solve it. So right now, it's a bit low, right? The prospect of getting a job right now is a bit low, but hang on, 6 months down the line, I'm very sure that things are going to shape up, really. Because a lot of companies are, even the ones that are hyped on AI, even the cloud AI themselves, are still hiring engineers. So for junior engineers that want to come on board, what I've been shouting about understanding fundamentals, caring about problems, are the differentiators right now, more than ever, right? It's a bit more challenging. That's the honest truth. To actually like come into the field is a bit more challenging, right? To come into the field. I'm not directly in the job market, but I interact with, but nonetheless, we still have like a need for engineers, right? And the marker for a good engineer is you caring about problem and solving problem, and that marker will never like go away. So it's a challenge to you guys to actually just ensure that like you understand fundamentals, yeah, you know your stuff actually, because being honest, yeah, it's not super pretty right now, but things are going to shape up in no time, right? So that's like my honest feedback on that. Not to discourage you guys, but yeah, you need to like, you just building a website will not just cut it. You need to understand some fundamentals of how the website will work, what can be wrong with that website, how you can quickly fix it, right? You understand the basics first, and then you can use AI to help you in all that. Yeah, I don't know if I answered your question, Emeka.
Yeah, yes, indeed. Thanks so much.
Okay. Yeah, Prince.
Hi everyone.
I
I just want to say a very big thank you to the team. Thank you, Clement, for the clarification. Um, our CEO Sam and our coach Stephen. You guys have been doing a nice job. You know, why I'm particular about this is because a lot of us in this group are newbies on all of what's been said here. I can't even lie to you. It's just more so as day goes by or throughout the past weeks, we've been getting to terms with the technologies of software development. Sometimes a lot of us have questions to ask, but we don't even know how to come about it because it would look like, oh, um, he or she is a newbie and might be taking the class a bit backwards or all of that. I don't know. I'm just speaking from my own perspective. Do you get what I mean? So it's just more so that I just want to say thanks for giving us the opportunity to be able to air our minds and not be very like kind of judgmental about it in a way, because I mean we're all here to learn at the end of the day. So a lot of the terms we've been hearing for the past 1 to 2 weeks now have been more so new, but we're coming to terms with it. So I just want to appreciate everyone for that. Personally, where I've got an issue with is just more so I don't know, like I don't know why it says, but I want to be able to how would I say it? When I get sent a code, for example, I need to be able to open it to be able to see what that code is literally talking about, because I had this problem when I was trying to access the web resources that was sent to us by our coach. I was able to see the resource which was coded, if you understand what I mean, but I'm not able to like translate it to something I can like a readable format, if you understand what I mean. So that is where personally I've got a problem. I've been literally following up from the onset, from where we started up until even I've one thing I'm happy about is that I now troubleshoot to be able to find out where I've got problems, which is something our coach talked about in one of the videos. It gets to a point where you know that okay, you're able to troubleshoot, you're able to find out the problems. I remember one of the nights where I was having issues on the, I think it was the WordPress. Yeah, I think I had an issue that night, and literally I'll just come and come to the WhatsApp and then text our coach to see if you can be able to respond. But down the line, I was able to troubleshoot and I found a solution to it. I just went back to delete it quickly, just so he's not able to see it. Yeah, so that's just my own question. I don't know how to go about being able to translate the code to a readable format. I don't know if that makes sense. That's just, yeah, personally I've got a problem. That's one. And also, you kind of mentioned my second question, Mr. Emeka, yeah, where we are looking at what we are going out to go and face. Because yeah, it's one thing to learn all of this. We need to be able to understand what we are expected to do in the general public. You understand? Are you able to, when you go out there in search of a job, let's say, what are the employers looking out for? What, as somebody who is a newbie on the tech firm, because a lot of people might say, "Oh, software engineer, this, that." They expect you to like know it all. You understand what I mean? Yeah, but we need to be able to have like um, a beginner friendly experience to know, okay, you are coming into this field. This is what you're expected to know. I know a lot of firms do what they call on the job training sometimes, but some companies or some firms already think, oh, you know it all. And my question is, what are we expected, or what are we expecting in the field we are going out to be as software developers and engineers? Thank you.
Oh, okay. I think the first question you had, right? I think we're almost overshooting the time, so I'll just quickly wrap up. Right, the first question you have, I mean, is a bit nuanced, so I might not be able to answer it, which is the readable formats. I don't know what you mean by readable formats, because if it's get a code, uh, is it, I don't know, is it a plan with the IDE? Is it the file itself that's not opening? I I I think Bimbo will be in better position to answer that and help with that, right? However, concerning the other question about, which is a concern about like job market out there, right? Uh, I'll say some for a fact, right? So I'm not a recruiter, so recruiters actually have like more up to date information about. I think people probably definitely have more information about hiring and the likes than me, right? But
Mm.
for the dynamics of hiring that I have seen, like in my org and similar organizations, right? What I've come to actually like really seeing over time is that one, the requirements, right, for coming into organization, yeah. So the requirements for coming into organization and for internship for as a junior role, right? The honest truth is that like that's actually like increased a bit. And what are the requirements is the question you ask, right? And I think one of the requirements here is this. One is one, what people are shying away from, right, is having to sit down, right, hire people and then explain things to junior engineers or interns step by step, right, of how the current system works, right? I mean, folks are, I mean, based on interactions, folks are actually like trying to move away from that, right? However, as an intern or junior engineer, right, a very critical skill, right, that is more important than ever right now is one, can you read documentation, right? Like I said the other time, your LLM, your AI is your friend at this point, right? And what I mean by your friend is that you don't understand. So the way where I'm coming from is a bit of us taking that sense of hiring interns because they just throw into the wild, actually, right? But one thing that will always help, irrespective, is one, right? The amount of questions you're asking. You want to ensure your question you're asking is not on technical parts too much. You should ask question on technical parts, right? The question you're asking should be, I've tried this, I've tried that, things are not working, right? That's the first requirement. Like, have you tried anything at all, right? Do you understand what this problem is, right? The requirement for me is, if I'm going to hire an intern right now, right, I want to give an intern a task straight up, and what I expect the intern to come back with me is, on this task you've given me, right, I don't understand how to go about it, but this is how I've thought about it. Like, this is my current approach. Please correct it, right? Because one of those things that's like one of those things, like right now, because the honest truth here is that I want to be quite honest with you guys, is that some of the tasks that you typically push to intern or junior engineer right now, you can prompt it and then you get your response, right? But if they're going to some firm, right? A skill that will always not go away is, yeah, sorry. Yeah, I think I'm overshooting the time. Uh, if Prince can have a chat with Abiola, with Bimbo, and Bimbo will actually like continue maybe down the line. But to wrap up, right? Um, there's job for you, right? However, you need to take a lot of time to ensure the kind of question you'll be asking. I mean, the initial stage, ask me about any kind of question you want, right? But AI tools are your friend, right? You are stuck on something, ask it that kind of question. Ask it that question, get the response from it. If you don't understand it, then ask your coach or ask someone else to try and explain to you. Do that enough that you get to a point about like the questions they are asking, the quality of questions they are asking improves. But initial stage, yeah, I mean, it's okay to bang your head on the wall. It's normal. Everybody went through that stage. So yeah, thanks everyone for your time. Thanks. Uh, yeah. So guys, have a nice evening, and please don't forget again, fundamentals are very much more important than ever right now. Like, learn the fundamentals, please and please, and care about the problem you're solving. Right, that will make you stand out in the industry. Thank you. Have a good evening, everyone. Yeah, bye for now.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your time once again. Thank you. Hopefully, we can do this again. Thank you. Yeah, Dennis said this has been educative, informative, and reassuring. I'm inspired and encouraged. Thank you. Thank you. And they're clapping as well. Thank you. Thank you. And to our students, thank you so much for your time this evening. Really appreciate you. Please note that this video will drop on YouTube in a few minutes to the next hour. And every other video from the past sessions, yesterday's session, it's already on YouTube for you guys. Joyce will drop the link to the YouTube page, which you already have, but she'll drop it just for courtesy's sake. She'll drop that shortly. So for those who would like to go rewatch some videos, you have access to all of those sessions. Okay. Thank you for your time. Have a wonderful evening, and we go again on Monday. Okay. As I told the marketing student, please and please do not ask questions tomorrow. Tomorrow is Sunday. Go and rest. If you're itching to ask a question tomorrow, please don't. Okay. Don't. Otherwise, you see me and I'll threaten you. And you don't want me to threaten you. Okay. You just want us to be have a great time. No issues. No questions tomorrow. Rest, sleep. If you're not able to rest, just turn off your phone or something. All righty. Have a good evening, everyone. Thank you.